Hello everyone, welcome to the ultimate rainy day reading video. I will of course give you my coziest book recommendations, share my autumn personal curriculum with you, and I go book shopping where I find a super bizarre rainy day book. Hope you guys enjoy. The rainy season is upon us and we must prepare by going to the bookstore. Also, it's been my birthday and I want to get myself a present by going to a bookstore and buying myself a book. But if you want an easier way to always have a good book on your doorstep, look no further than the sponsor of today's video, which is Book of the Month. They also have this hat. Might need to start wearing this one in public to attract the right people, you know, immediately attract friends. Anyway, Book of the Month is the best way to discover new books from up-and-coming authors or titles that you may otherwise not have heard about. Every month their team creates a perfectly curated list of amazing new books that are coming up from a variety of genres, and you get to choose one of them that will be sent to you. Each book is covered by the reader's guarantee, which means if you read it and you don't like it, they replace it for free next box. So for September, the book I picked, I'm so excited, is this one, Discontent. It's a lit fic about a woman that has curated the perfect lifestyle, career woman, girl boss, and her facade kind of slowly starts crumbling down and she can't keep up the appearances anymore. And then I also picked an extra book, Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. You guys have been telling me to read Stephanie Garber for a while, and this sounds like kind of an urban fantasy where folklore becomes reality. Tipping my hat to that concept. You can get this hat for free and also get your first hardcover book for only $5 if you use my code JACKET. So click the link in the description and use code JACKET to start with Book of the Month. Okay, let's go to the bookstore. I hopped on my bike and cycled to the city center. I really need to go to the city center more often because I just love the old architecture here and the atmosphere. My goal in the bookstore was to find a book that I hadn't heard anything about yet, but that just sounded very rainy and foresty, very I want to disappear into my own home type book. I found this book that caught my attention because it was just called Bear, and it was described as a spellbinding tale about sisters' obsession and a mysterious creature in the woods, which, hello? That sounds exactly like my thing. So I got it as a little birthday present for myself, and I'm excited to slowly get into the rainy day reading mood. This book is, disclaimer, I don't know what to expect from this book because I don't know anything about it. Never heard anyone talking about it. So I genuinely don't know where this is going to go. And I'm hoping it's gonna go the crazy route that I think it's going to go. This book has the potential to become truly insane. I don't know if it's gonna be that kind of lit fic, you know? Sometimes lit fic can be a little tame, but I hope it's gonna go full Mona Award weird. Probably not, but that's what I'm hoping. I'm loving the vibes of this book. It's very much two sisters living in this cabin in the woods. I'm really imagining these like big dark pine woods. The types of woods that we here where I live in the Netherlands don't really have. I always kind of romanticize the idea of being in a big pine wood, old ancient forest, because we just don't really have that here. Except it's not really cozy because there is a bear that's kind of stalking them. Is it gonna become horror? I hope it's going to become horror. I would love that. I'm picking up on some weird erotic subtones I need to read to you the way that one of the sisters, Alina, describes this bear, okay? This is my question to you. What does it remind you of? Girl meets bear in forest. Describing it, she was focused, detailed, reverent even. She spent a long time talking about its body, the impossibility of its size, the thickness of its arms, the depth of its smell. It inhaled her. Tell me that this does not sound like the description of some alpha male fae love interest in a fairy smut book. I'm just saying because they are always described as these like beastly, big, powerful men. Especially the fae are always kind of animalistic in their descriptions. And this is a description of an actual bear. And it's reminding me of the way fae are described. I don't know if that says anything about the intention of the author or if that says anything about me. There's a video essay just already brewing in my mind about animalistic descriptions of love and desire and the appeal of the always animalistically described fae, or even monster romances. Like, what is so attractive about the inhuman? I just don't know. It could go so off the rails, this book, or it could remain tame, and I just really hope it's gonna go off the rails. I think I want to go to the forest. Here's one of the things that I always want to do more of is go into nature, especially now that fall is around the corner. I just realized that I spend most of my time either in my home, in my friend's home, or in the heart of the city, but I never actually go into nature. So I thought maybe we can take a little trip to the forest. I hope it's not going to rain. It shouldn't be raining today. And then read a little bit there as we just take in the calm of being in nature. It's getting dark so early again. Like yesterday, I was going to a friend at around 9 in the evening and it was getting dark as I went to that friend, which was so weird. That felt wrong. But at the same time, the weather outside temperature-wise is still as if it's like an early summer. So I'm kind of excited to see what the forest looks like right now. I think I want to just go make a trip to the forest a little bit more often throughout autumn so I can actually see the changes happening. Oh, I'm also so excited. I bought these new Mary Janes. Well, they're not new, they are secondhand. And I'm so obsessed with them. I want to wear them with every single outfit because I'm one of those people that just wears my docs with everything. But now I have different cute shoes and I'm like a convert. I'm now like, wow, cute shoes really do make your outfit so much different than if you just wear the same shoes all the time. Adorable. Adorable. Hello. I went off the beaten path, but I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to be here. Right now I am happy that it is not raining because I'm outside, but the thing is, ooh, there's like a really beautiful, very wiggly tree in front of me. What I like about rainy weather and why I think so many people associate it with sitting down to read a book is that I feel like it gives me permission to stay inside and just cozy up on the couch with a book. I don't have to go out, go outside, do all these things, make use of the sunny summer weather. And that's what I really like about rain. It's like permission to take it slow. But at the same time, like I said, I also want to go outside into nature more, because to me that is also a way of slowing down. I am now halfway into this book, The Bear, and it's making me very happy that I live in the Netherlands, where I do not risk walking into a bear when I walk into the forest. Like, honestly, the scariest thing I could meet here is probably a wasp. Or honestly, the scariest thing I could meet here is another human. That kind of, multiple people have walked by and kind of looked really awkwardly like, what is that girl doing over there sitting with a camera? I'm not really sure what like the message or the meaning of this book is so far. Maybe it's just one of those things that is different to anyone who reads it. But to me, the bear feels like a metaphor for kind of the grandiosity and danger, but also beauty of nature, like the wildness of nature, something that gives you a feeling of awe. Alina, one of the two sisters that has a certain fascination with this bear, let's just call it that, always describes meeting the bear as feeling extremely alive. Like, she can feel all the blood in her veins, she can feel all the adrenaline, and she's never felt more alive in the moment as when she meets the bear. And to me, that is also something like the feeling of awe that you get when you are in nature, surrounded by wildness. When I am in the mountains in Italy or in a beautiful forest in Germany. And I also honestly kind of experience that when it is thundering outside, like just thunderstorms and rains outside. Okay, maybe I should find a slightly more traditional place to read this book, like just a little sad little park bench, you know, stay on the beaten path for a second maybe. However much I love these Mary Janes, they are not the right shoes to go into the forest with. I finished it. That was not as weird as it could have been, in my opinion. Look, maybe I've just read too much fantasy or more weirder fiction, because if I see a book being described as about obsession, about a dark fairy tale, something that glows with fairy tale magic, moral reckoning, I expected something at least a little bit more bizarre, a little bit more over the top, but it remains extremely tame. Like, it just remains perfectly within the boundaries of just standard literary fiction. I was just hoping, because of the way it's described, that it would go into the territory of at least a little bit of surrealism or a little bit of magical realism. That doesn't happen, unfortunately. I was hooked though, that being said, because really at the core, this is a story about two sisters and their kind of unhealthy relationship to each other, and about being stuck, since these two girls, they live on these islands and they just have jobs that they don't like, and they are also kind of stuck in debt. And it's very much about wanting to create another life for yourself, but not knowing how, and not really knowing how to do that together. Also, interestingly, this is one of the first times that I've read a book where the pandemic is mentioned and like actually part of the history of the book, because I've noticed in a lot of contemporary novels it just kind of pretend that the pandemic didn't exist or didn't happen, or it doesn't really influence the characters' lives. I just think this book would have been better if it just broke through some limits, it broke through some boundaries of the genre. But also, I think that may just be my own personal taste. There was a moment in this book where I was like, that like gasp moment where I was like, oh my gosh. And I love it when books do that. I think I would give this 3 stars, 3.5 stars. And I would still really recommend this, especially if you're interested in lit fic about codependent sister dynamics, trying to break free from a capitalistic hell. But also mostly, I think this is a book about women not being believed. I think it's a book about people not taking the warnings of women seriously, or the worries that women have. Like, it was kind of frustrating to read at times. This really is one of those books where the whole time you're just like, I don't know who to believe. Like, I genuinely don't know who is lying here and who is being unreliable. And that I liked. It's time for me to give you my personal recommendations. First, I just want to make it a little cozy in here. I have this new microphone now. Let me know if you prefer this audio over the other audio. I do feel like the quality is a little better. Wow. There's something about dark red candles that just makes the whole vibe so much different than if you use a white candle. I'm gonna try to not repeat myself too much. Like, I have many videos out there with all of my autumnal reading recommendations. I will link them all in the video description. Like, I have so many autumnal book recommendations if you're looking for that. With these ones, I'm trying to mention a few that I don't mention in those videos that feel a little bit more rainy specifically. The first one that I want to recommend is a short story by Ray Bradbury, and that is All Summer in a Day. It is a short story about, well, you guessed it from the title, a sci-fi future where it rains every day and the people get to experience summer in one singular day. And although the story is about that one singular day that they experience the summer and the sun, it is kind of negative about rain, I would say. It's very much a celebration of the sun and of the outside world and of taking care of the planet, and then just like how much sunlight can really do to us emotionally. So maybe read this on those days that you're really missing the sun. I would recommend this if you are, like I said, missing the sun, or if you really want to feel extremely rainy, and if you just want to kind of reflect on the weather and on nature and how important natural cycles of seasons are to our well-being. I could not make a recommendation list like this without, to me, the queen of atmosphere for the darker days, and that is Rachel Gillick. I would recommend The Night and the Moth. This is romantasy done right, guys, and this is for those who feel like reading about Catholicism, the Catholic aesthetic. It's about a woman who can see into the future, and she's always shrouded, and she lives in this cathedral. There are knights that are coming with her on a quest to find her sisters. It has this very medieval vibe to it, but Rachel Gillick is just extremely good at creating this atmosphere with the gargoyles and statues and these small little towns and little carnivals and strange magic. Atmosphere is what I'm going for when it is rainy out there. And this one also has a really nice, good dose of romance. It is not the main plot, but it's nicely simmering in the background and in all of the unsaid things, which is where it should be. And obviously, in extension to that, I also recommend the Shepherd King duology, but I feel like I've already talked about this one like endlessly, so I don't want to bore you with that again. Oh my god. Oh! That was really stupid. You guys didn't see that, but this candle fell right on top of the pile of books that I'm about to recommend to you, and I really saw like my life flash before my eyes for a second, imagining them all going up in flames. Oh my gosh, I need to be way more careful. Okay. Anyway, speaking about seeing your life flash before your eyes, the darker days, the sitting inside days are not complete if you have not read the Bronte sisters, okay? We will start with Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights. Am I afraid of the movie adaptation? Yes. It's directed by the same person who did Saltburn. I know everyone likes to hate on Saltburn, but I actually really loved Saltburn. Yes, kind of a shallow critique on criticism, but I mostly loved it for the art direction and the theme of obsession. I thought that was done really, really well. Anyway, I digress. Same director is now doing Wuthering Heights with Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie, and I'm not feeling it. It's too Hollywood. You can't Hollywoodenize Wuthering Heights. This is a good novel about obsession. Like it says on the back, obsession, violence, and death. Super fun. I love that. Insane characters that are very, very unlikable, but that is kind of the point. But I do recommend this if you want to read about two lovers haunting each other, figuratively and literally. And it's also very much an interesting story about the cycles of abuse in family. Like, it's really not mainly a romance as people like to make it out to be. It's a tragic story. And then, of course, the other Bronte book, Jane Eyre. I just have to recommend it. It's one of my favorite books, guys. Do you see the tabs in there? Again, a book about love, tragic love, mistakes, but just this beautiful coming of age story of Jane Eyre as she is in this orphanage first. It has this teaching position, and then she enters this gothic residence of Mr. Rochester, and very introspective. Like, you just read about all of her thoughts, and to me that feels like it's raining outside and you are journaling and jotting down your thoughts, but you're reading the thoughts of someone who lived 200 years ago. Not actually. I know that she's not real, but that's what it feels like. Another book that feels exceptionally rainy is Frankenstein. And just looking at the illustrations, you can see the amount of rain that is in this book. I don't know why. It's just like Dr. Frankenstein is constantly sitting in front of a window, raining, contemplating life. There's portions of this book that are at sea in the storm. Frankenstein's monster is just generally being very emo. That was literally the worst description of the Frankenstein book that I could ever give you, but it's also pretty accurate. Yeah, it's just Frankenstein's monster being really emo all the time. I recommend this if you are looking to be a little introspective about humanity and what it means to be human and what it means to make mistakes also again and kind of regret them. Then for the specific blue vibes, we're going very literal here. Bluettes by Maggie Nelson. It's about the color blue. What else can I tell you? It's very rainy. If you are feeling the blues during the rainy days, you may find some comfort in this because it is about Maggie Nelson talking about the color blue, but also her own blues, the blues that she feels about heartbreak, but also interesting insights about the color blue and what color means and why we tend to use the color blue for certain emotions. It's a very fragmented piece of work that I can really see you maybe just like reading a few fragments a day as you lay in bed and the rain is ticking on your window. And lastly, I actually think that the Emily Wilde books have a rainy day vibe. Most of these take place in, I don't have the first book, but the first book takes place in winter, which is a little colder, but because it has this academic vibe to it, because it's about Emily Wilde who does field research in fairies. Like, she just lives in our world and she goes to somewhere in Scandinavia to research fairies in the fae world, and she makes these notes about them. There's something about academic research that feels very rainy day to me. Maybe it's because in autumn the academic year begins again, and the Emily Wilde books are like a really fun fantasy version of research. And speaking about research, the last thing I want to talk about is research recommendations that I want to give. I've been really loving this trend of the personal curriculum, which, if you've missed that, like, people are creating monthly curriculums for themselves or seasonal curriculums for themselves to kind of get back into learning. And as someone who has not been in university for like 3 years now, oh, it's so fun to learn again. And I think this is great because if you are going to be sitting inside, it's so easy to spend all that time just kind of scrolling. And that kind of makes us feel maybe like we're learning a lot because you're taking a lot of information in, but you're not actually learning anything. You're not actually processing anything. And there's something really fun about actually choosing, like, this is a topic I want to hone into. Okay, so the first thing that I recommend, or that I am going to be learning about the upcoming month, is actually mycology, because I started a mycology course. This was kind of on a whim decision. I got an ad for like an online course in the Netherlands on determining mushrooms, learning to determine mushrooms in the wild. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. No, I did think about that for a very long time and wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not, and like overthought it way too much. but I ended up choosing to do it and I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun with it, guys. I haven't done any of the field work yet, but I have to go into the field and like look for mushrooms and determine them and make little notes on them. And I feel like mushrooms are very in right now. Everyone is having a mushroom aesthetic, and of course in autumn mushrooms grow the best, so I think it's super fun to take this time also to actually learn about them. How do they actually grow? How do they actually work? How does it work underground with the mushrooms? Everything that I'm learning, I'm like, I love actually knowing what I'm talking about when I'm filling up my house with little mushroom paraphernalia. And the second thing that I kind of chose as my little curriculum thing that I want to learn more about and get into is kind of classic feminism. I feel like I talk about feminist topics on this channel very often, but I have no like actual academic background in it. I don't know the history at all. So I really wanted to actually dive into some classic essays because I feel like the discourse always repeats itself. And when I see modern feminist discourse or items that are on the agenda, I would like to know the actual historical background behind that, you know? And I have accumulated a bunch of books with feminist essays that I just haven't really gotten into, but I know some of these are classics. Of course, there's Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. I already read a few essays out of this and I've loved them all, so I just want to get into more of them. I think the most iconic or like most well-known one from her is "The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House." And then we have Angela Davis on Women, Race, Class. I have here Art on My Mind by Bell Hooks. This one is not like directly a feminist piece of work, but there's a lot of essays in here about being an artist and also being a woman artist, being a black artist, etc. And I also recently got Caliban and the Witch because I saw this being recommended as like a good start. Well, not a good starting point. Honestly, I already started listening to it a little bit and I'm like, whoa, this is advanced feminism, like building on years and years of other academics and what other people have written, but it goes a lot into the witch hunt and also specifically the woman's body as kind of the war battleground. And I am personally always really interested in themes of the body. I always like that as a theme in stories. I tend to write about it a lot myself, so I thought, you know, I really want to read kind of this feminist piece of work that is very focused on like the woman's body and how that has been used against women, basically. So yeah, let me know what you want to research this autumn or the next month. I actually would love to know. Share your little personal curriculum if you've created one. I'm going to start reading Discontent next, because this feels like a kind of sad girl rainy day book. I already talked about this in the book of the month part of this video. However much I love the sun, I am slowly getting excited to enjoy the rainy weather and welcome the slower days, you know? I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit more kind of disjointed, a little vloggy style, but I actually kind of enjoyed doing that. So I hope you also enjoyed it. I really hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon in another video very soon. Goodbye!